Assigning a name to a cell or a range of cells allows you to route. The if function returns one of two values in a cell based on a true or false answer to a question called a logical test. The format of an if function is $if, the logical test, and then if the value is true, and then if the value is false. For example, assume a salesperson earns a 3% commission. If sales are greater than or equal to $100,000, or a 2% commission for sales, less than $100,000. Assume the sales value resides in cell B4. The logical test in this example would be B4 greater than or equal to 100,000. Excel can only return a true or false answer when this test is performed. It either is greater or less than. The commission will be calculated at either B4 times 3%, which would be true, or B4 times 2% if it's false. In this example, the if function formula would be =if B4 is greater than or equal to 100,000, then B4 times 3%. Otherwise, B4 times 2%. The catering staff participates in a profit-sharing bonus at the end of a year. The bonus amount is based on the year-end profit and the employee's years of service. 2.5% for those with 5 years of service and more, and 1.25% for those employees with less than 5 years of service. Since the percentage bonus can be either one of two values, you need an if function to calculate the bonus. So make C7 your active cell. Click Formulas, Logical, and If. The if function arguments dialog box for the if statement opens. Notice the three arguments: logical test, value if true, and value if false. To begin, you want Excel to test whether the value in the years of service column, which is column B, is less than 5. This test determines whether Excel calculates the bonus using the lower percentage paid to employees with fewer than 5 years of service, or the higher percent paid to employees with 5 or more years of service. Recall that in the last project you created name ranges. In the next steps, you will see how using name ranges will make the if statement much easier to read and understand. With the insertion point positioned in the logical test text box, type years, which is our name range, less than 5. Hit tab. Watch the entries that appear at the right of each argument text box as you build the formula. Excel updates these entries to show you how the formula is working as you build each argument. Notice that next to the logical test text box, you now see the true and false results Excel is calculating for each entry in the years range. With the insertion point positioned in the value if true text box, type profit times less than 5 and press tab. If the value in B7 is less than 5, Excel calculates the bonus as the profit, cell E7, times 1.25%, which is in cell G7. Another advantage to using range names is that by default, range names refer to the named cell using absolute references. Since the formula will be copied to rows 8 to 15, absolute references are required for those cells that reference the profit and the percents. With the insertion point positioned in the if value if false type box, type profit times 5 and over. If the value in B7 is greater than or equal to 5, the formula calculates the profit times 2.5%. Notice that below the text boxes, Excel shows the results that will be placed in the active cell. Formula results equals $7,177.35. Looking at cell B7, you will note that Lou Cortez has 2 years of service, so Excel is calculating Lou's bonus at $557,188 times 1 1/4. Click OK. Drag the fill handle in cell C7 down to row 15. and then click any cell to deselect. Make C17 your active cell. Click the Auto Sum button. And then press enter to calculate the total bonuses to be paid. Format the values in column C in comma style. If necessary, increase the width of column C to display the entire amounts in the column. We need to do that because we can't see that one, so I'm just going to point here between C and D and double click. Click C7 and review the formula in the formula bar. That was created using the if function, okay? And it's easier to understand it that way than if they were just cell addresses. So I'm going to save this, and I'm done.